So I got around to seeing Gladiator 2, and I've got to say that the highs of this movie are high, and the lows of this movie are pretty low from what I was expecting. So let's get into it. The story is pretty simple. It's kind of like a revenge redemption story. It has a lot of twists and turns. Some twists that are like you see coming from like 3,000 miles away that I'm pretty sure you could probably tell from seeing the trailers. I didn't see them, so I'm not going to say anything, but there's some pretty obvious twists in the movie, but luckily they don't make them big secrets for too long, and some of them are just like plot reasons and they just happen, and you could tell that they were always going to happen. So I like the story for what it was. I just think that there were a few contradictions to the previous one, and I had watched the previous one just before going in to see this one, so there was just some moments that left me a little head scratching, like, what? Why? But interesting nonetheless, pretty cool. But I'm gonna give it a Hot Pocket score for the story. Cinematically, I think it looks just beautiful and fantastic, and I think the action set pieces are fantastic. I do just have one question though: how did they get sharks in there? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And when I saw that, I just immediately was like, sharks? Like, alligators or crocodiles, I'd understand, but sharks? How? But it doesn't matter because it was cool, and sometimes the rule of cool is more important than practical. So yeah, it was awesome. It was badass. So I'm giving it a hand grenade score because that's what the inner Johnny Lawrence in me is saying right now. If it was badass, it was badass, and thus awesome and deserving. Directing, I think Ridley Scott actually does a great job directing this movie. My issue with the first movie is that the action sequences aren't like very well shot. It's very jumpy, but they want to focus on the action. In this one, they focus on the action way better than in the previous one, but they also do like good jumps instead of like stupid ones, because while we're focusing on the action, there's only like really one camera on the action. If you know what I mean, like there's clearly more, but like they don't jump from multiple angles and like simultaneously, like they jump from the characters fighting to the audience members and how they react, and it's way better than the jumping from several different angles of the same fight, so that way you're like, oh, the sword was at the bottom left, now it's on the top right, oh god, and now it's in the middle, and now it's in the top left. I didn't like that about the first one, but this one does a better job, and I do think pacing wise it was pretty good, although it did just sort of slow down in the middle, but when it picked up again, it was really good. So I'm on the edge, but I'll give it a hand grenade score here. Performances, I think that this movie is pretty well acted. I enjoyed Pedro Pascal. I don't think he did a lot. I enjoyed Joseph Quinn. I don't know why he was at the center of like everything about this movie. I think it was just because of Stranger Things, but like he doesn't do much. And Paul Mescal does a good job, but honestly, the real standout for this movie is Denzel Washington. He was phenomenal, and the best part, honestly, I wish we had more screen time with Denzel in this movie, and I think that's just something that everyone says. I wish we had more Denzel. But yeah, I'll give a hand grenade score to Denzel, but the rest of the group pretty much just gets a Hot Pocket score, so technically it's a Hot Pocket score, but Denzel, again, fantastic. Loved him in this role. So yeah, expectations and experience. I don't know what I was expecting. I watched the first Gladiator, and then I'm like, oh, so I'm expecting something similar to this, and then it wasn't. It had ideas, but it was very much a bigger leap from reality than I was anticipating, especially after seeing the first one. But yeah, this is a certified Hot Pocket movie. I think it's worth a watch. Everyone should go see it at least once. But it's one of those where the more you're watching, you're like, why am I watching this one instead of the first one? Like, the first one just tells a better story. Although the action in this one, like I said, is badass, meaning it's cooler, meaning it's more worth it. But hey, besides the point, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on Gladiator 2, subscribe if you haven't already, and other than that, I will leave you guys to it.